The day Frank switched his Medicare, he saved $140 a month. He was thrilled. 3 years later, the cancer came back. And when Frank tried to switch his coverage back, the insurance company said one word. No, that one word cost Frank over $60,000 out of his own pocket in a single year. Now, folks, Frank ain't a foolish man. He read the brochure. He did the math. The plan was legal, popular, and pushed on him by a real nice salesman. He just didn't know he was walking through a one-way door. And nobody told him it locks behind you. I'm Earl, and here on Earl's Money Talk, we don't do fear. We do facts. But this one keeps me up at night, 'cause it's happening to good folks every single day. There's two kinds of Medicare in this country, and the choice you make at 65 ain't really about this year's premium. It's about whether you can still change your mind 10 years from now, when your body has other plans. Most people don't figure that out till it's too late to fix. Today, you're gonna figure it out early. I'm gonna show you exactly how the trap works, why that free plan ain't free, and the one enrollment window that decides your options for life. So do me one quick favor before we dig in. If you're over 55, tap that subscribe button. This is the stuff Wall Street suits and slick agents ain't gonna explain to you. All right, let's talk about the two doors. When you turn 65, you gotta pick a lane. Door number 1 is Original Medicare. That's the government plan. Part A for the hospital, Part B for the doctor. You go anywhere in America that takes Medicare, and nearly every doctor does. Door number 2 is Medicare Advantage. Sounds fancy, right? Advantage. Like you're getting something extra. It's a private insurance company taking over your Medicare, run for profit. And here's the pitch that gets folks every time, 'cause it sounds too good to pass up. 0 monthly premium, free dental, free vision, a gym membership thrown in. Sometimes even a little money back on your Social Security check. Sounds like Christmas morning, don't it? Now, stay with me here, 'cause the reason that pitch works so well is the reason it's so dangerous. Let's go back to Frank. 64 years old, healthy as a horse, counting down to retirement. He sits down with an agent at a free coffee and donuts seminar. Nice fella, big smile. Charts everywhere. The agent shows Frank 2 columns. Original Medicare with a supplement costs him about $200 a month. The Advantage plan? 0, plus dental, plus a gym card. Frank does the quick math in his head. $200 a month times 12, that's $2,400 a year he'd be saving. Over 10 years, nearly 25 grand back in his pocket. Any of us would have run the same numbers. Frank ain't dumb. He's being smart with his money. That's what we all try to do, right? So he signs, feels good about it. Drives home telling Diane they just found free money. And for the first couple years, he was right. Frank barely saw a doctor. The plan worked fine. This is the honeymoon. And the honeymoon is the trap. 'Cause the plan ain't built for the healthy years. It's built for what happens when the healthy years end. Here's the first thing that brochure whispers real quiet. Advantage plans have networks. Just like the insurance you had at your job. There's a list of doctors you're allowed to use. Go outside that list, you pay through the nose. Or you ain't covered at all. Original Medicare don't work like that. There's no network. Any doctor, any hospital, any state that takes Medicare, done. But an Advantage plan? Your cardiologist might be in-network this year and gone next year. The company can change the list whenever they want. And that specialist your neighbor swears by, the 1-3 states over at the big cancer center? Probably not on your little regional list. When you're healthy, folks, you don't even notice the fence. You never bump into it. But when you're sick, that fence right there is the whole ball game. Now here comes trap number 2, and this one makes my blood boil, folks. It's called prior authorization. It means before that private company pays for your scan, your surgery, your treatment, they got to approve it first. A clerk in an office somewhere, looking at a screen, deciding if your doctor's orders are worth paying for. Original Medicare almost never does this. Your doctor says you need it, you're getting it. But on a lot of Advantage plans, that approval can get delayed, denied, appealed, denied again, while you're sitting there sick and scared. Quick gut check before we go on. Trap number 3 is the one that actually locked Frank in for good. Keep that in the back of your mind. Let's talk cold, hard cash. Folks think zero premium means cheap. It don't. Every Advantage plan has a thing called max out-of-pocket. It's the most you can be forced to pay in a year before they cover the rest. For 2026, that cap can run all the way up to $9,250. And that's for in-network care alone, because once you step outside that list, a lot of plans don't even count it. So Frank's free plan? In a bad year, it could hand him a bill north of $9,000. And that's if he stays inside the fence. Now compare that to original Medicare with a good supplement. In a bad year, a lot of folks pay close to nothing extra. That's the whole point of the supplement. See the flip? The Advantage plan is cheap when you're well and brutal when you're sick. The supplement is the other way around. You're not buying insurance for your best years. You're buying it for your worst ones. Okay, here's the big one. Trap number 3, the one-way door. You might be sitting there thinking, Earl, relax. If the Advantage plan goes bad, I'll just switch back to original. Right? That's exactly what Frank thought. And that thought is the most expensive mistake in this whole video. Yes, you can switch back to original Medicare. That part's easy. But switching back to original ain't enough, 'cause original Medicare by itself leaves you exposed. 20% of every bill with no cap. You need that supplement, that Medigap plan, to cap your costs. And here's the part nobody says out loud. To buy a Medigap plan after your first window closes, in most states, you gotta pass a health review. They call it medical underwriting. It means the insurance company gets to look at your health record and decide whether they even want you. When you first sign up at 65, they can't say no. That's your one guaranteed shot. Nobody can turn you down. But 3 years later, with a diagnosis on your chart, they can look at you and say, no, only a handful of states protect you year-round, folks. Places like Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York. In the other 40-plus, you're at the insurance company's mercy, and mercy ain't something they hand out for free. That's the one-way door. You can always walk into Advantage. You can't always walk back out to full protection. So let's finish Frank's story. Year 3. He goes in for what he figures is a routine checkup. It ain't routine. The cancer he beat 5 years back, it's come home. His doctor names the specialist he needs. Best in the region for this exact thing. Frank feels a flicker of hope. Then the plan speaks up, 'cause the fence was there the whole time. That specialist? Out of network. That cancer center? Not on the list. Frank can go, sure, but he'll pay full freight. And the treatment he needs? It's got to clear prior authorization first. Weeks go by. Forms, phone trees, hold music. Diane on the kitchen phone every morning. Fighting a clerk who's never met her husband. And can we just be honest about that hold music for a second? Let's vent, folks. I swear the same 12 seconds of smooth jazz has stolen more years off American lives than red meat ever did. Your call is very important to us. Sure it is. That's why you've had me holding since the Carter administration. So tell me down in the comments, what's the one phrase from an insurance company that makes your eye twitch? Mine's, this call may be recorded for quality purposes. What quality? Get it off your chest. Then come right back, 'cause Frank's about to try the one thing he was sure would save him. Frank does what any sensible man would do. He calls to switch back to original Medicare with a supplement. The original part goes through, no problem. He's back on government Medicare. Then he applies for the Medigap supplement, the one that caps his costs, the one that makes original actually work. And the underwriter pulls his chart, sees the diagnosis, sees the treatment plan, and denies him. Not, we'll charge you more. Just, no. Frank is now on original Medicare with no supplement in the fight of his life, which means 20% of everything, with no ceiling on top. Chemo, scans, hospital stays. 20% of all of it, month after month, because there's no cap to catch him. That's how a man who was saving $140 a month ends up $60,000 in the hole in 1 year. The door he walked through at 64 locked behind him at 67, exactly like the brochure never said. And I'll tell you where it gets even meaner, 'cause the traps travel in packs. Remember, if you've watched my Irma video, that pulling big money out of your accounts in a bad year can spike your Medicare premiums 2 years down the road. So Frank cashes out investments to cover those uncovered bills. That raises his income, and 2 years later, Medicare hits him with a surcharge on top. Sick, uncovered, and now punished for trying to pay for it. That's the machine, folks. It don't care that you played fair. That's why we don't look at these choices one at a time. Medicare, taxes, income, they're all wired together. Now let me be fair, 'cause I ain't here to sell you fear. Advantage ain't evil, and it ain't wrong for everybody. If you're on a tight budget, and that supplement premium just don't fit, an Advantage plan is a whole lot better than going bare. If you're healthy, you stay put in one area, and your doctors are already in the network, it can work just fine for years. For plenty of folks it does. The problem ain't the plan. The problem is folks picking it blind, thinking the door swings both ways, when it don't. A choice you can't undo ain't a bargain. It's a bet. And you ought to know you're betting before you sign. So what do you actually do? Here's Earl's plain English playbook. Step 1. At 65, understand that your Medigap window is the most valuable coupon you will ever hold. 6 months, guaranteed. Nobody can say no. If there's any chance your health could turn, that window is when you lock in the protection that lasts. Step 2. If you go Advantage anyway, know your escape hatch before you need it. Check if your state offers guaranteed switchback rights. Most don't. Step 3. Every single fall, you get a window to change your mind. October 15th through December 7th. Mark it in ink. That's open enrollment, folks. It's the one time a year you can move between plans without starting from scratch. Miss that window, and you're locked in another whole year, 'cause the door only opens once. And read that annual notice they mail you in September, the one you always toss. Your network and your drug list can change every year, and they're banking on you not looking. Let me tell you how Diane handled her own 65th birthday, watching everything Frank went through. She sat down, cold sober about it, and she asked one question the agent hadn't asked her husband. If I get sick, can I still change my mind later? And when the honest answer was no, she chose the door that stays open. She took original Medicare and a supplement, paid a little more every month, and she sleeps just fine. 'Cause she ain't buying insurance for the Diane she is today, strong and healthy. She's buying it for the Diane she might be at 80. And that's the woman most folks forget to protect. And that right there is the hard part, ain't it? Not the money. The story we tell ourselves. Frank's story was, I'll always be healthy enough to switch when I need to. That was the lie. A comfortable one. We all got one like it. So I want you to be honest with me in the comments. What's the, I'll deal with it later? You keep telling yourself about your own money. The reader you keep meaning to write. The account you keep meaning to check. Name it out loud. 'Cause the second you name it, it loses its grip on you. Here's the thing this whole mess is really about. And it ain't just Medicare. The most expensive decisions in retirement don't feel expensive when you make them. They feel like a good deal. A little savings, a free perk. The cost shows up years later, quiet, when you got the least room to absorb it. So the smartest folks I know don't ask, what's cheapest today? They ask, what can I still undo tomorrow? 'Cause flexibility in retirement is worth more than a few saved dollars. Keep your options open, folks. In money, in Medicare, in life. An open door is worth paying a little for. Frank's doing better now, by the way. Slow road, but he's fighting, and Diane's right there with him. He asked me to share his story, so one of you don't walk through that same door blind. So consider yourself warned by a man who's been there. If this opened your eyes, do something with it. Send it to a friend who's turning 65. That one share could save him 60 grand. And here's our word for today. If you want me to make the full deep dive on choosing your Medigap plan the right way, type the word choice down in the comments. One word, choice. That's how I'll know to build it next. And then tell me this, just for fun. When you finally beat the insurance phone tree and reach a real human being, what's the first thing you're gonna say to him? Keep your options open, keep your nest egg safe, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Earl. Take care of yourselves, folks.